Oh god, it's a clusterfuck. I'm so sorry. Hey, and we have Steve. Just in time.
All right.
How goes
Can you
it?
hear me?
I can indeed. Your office looks different.
Can you hear me? Because I can hear nothing.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can, hold on, I've done something to this machine.
Oh, you should be able to hear me now.
Yeah, there we
Sorry
go.
about that. Hello, hello. Is it
good.
really a troll stream if we don't start off with a bunch of like technical difficulties?
Right. It's how we normally do it.
That's how stuff happens. We have big news.
You there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Okay, yeah.
Oh
Sorry.
god, it's all falling apart.
I keep fading in and out. All right, there we go. All right, I'm on deck. All right, good deal.
Perfect. And
Theoretical.
chat, is sound okay? Should be.
So,
okay.
do you want to give the good news, or do you want me to give the good news?
Well, I think you could probably say it best.
Okay. All right. So we hit the 275 stretch reward sometime this afternoon or this morning, actually, I think. And we have announced what will no doubt be the last stretch reward at 300,000. And we kind of got together and came up with the idea of putting together a roadmap for Castle Zagyg. I've had to explain the whole layout of Castle Zagyg to so many people, from lawyers to people at the booth to just to everyone. It seemed like a good way to introduce a lot of people to this magnum opus. Is that how you say that?
Opus.
Of Gary. Opus of Gary Gygax's, which is his gigantic Castle Zagyg, dungeons, castle, the precincts, the East Mark, and Yigsburg.
Yeah, we've also had a lot of people asking, like, about our Castle Zagyg stuff that we have planned. Is the upper works going to be included? Is the dungeons going to be included? Is XYZ going to be included? And Preludes is going to have everything included. All of it.
It'll map it out so that everyone will know what we're working on. And just to give everyone an idea of what the Castle Zagyg, for those people who don't know, this Castle Zagyg is, it's older material. It began in the 1970s. It was never officially published except under Troll Lord Games. The first section of it first two sections really. We put it out in 04, I think, through 08, 07, somewhere around in there. And the rest of it was never published. So what was put out was kind of a tongue-in-cheek second edition version of it, and then bits and pieces of ideas of it. I think Rob Coons did it a little bit here and there. But the Castle Zagyg was Gary's gigantic dungeon that he began running D&D in back in the 1970s and slowly fleshed out over the years as he just ran, as DMs do. You world build, and he world built around these dungeons, creating the castle above, the precincts of the castle itself, the Mouths of Madness, which are caves near there, eventually the East Mark Folio, and the city of Yigsburg.
And so
that's all. And
I'm so sorry.
All of that. No, all of that will be covered in the Preludes, and it'll kind of give you a map of how this all interconnects and interacts. And then hopefully by end of the year, we're rolling this stuff out.
It's going to be a really great intro into the rest of the Castle Zagyg stuff that we have scheduled, and like future Kickstarters to get the rest of it like fully fleshed out.
Yes, we've already released Yigsburg as a commemorative set, which is the city. We're going to do, I think this Kickstarter has some East Mark Folio stuff in it, and now the Preludes, of course. And then this will lead us into Upper Works, which is the castle, the precincts, the mouths, and the first level of the dungeons, and then on and into the dungeons.
The Upper Works have been the ones that I've seen the most people excited about.
Yeah, the Upper Works consists of the 3 levels of the castle itself, the precincts, which is the courtyard in front of the castle and the castle wall, the East Tower, which is this kind of special area in the castle itself, and then there's some caves beneath the bluff, and those are called the Mouths of Madness. So it'll have all of that's basically the Upper Works. That's what we published in 2008, December 2008, and we'll clean it up, of course, all full color, new maps, the whole thing.
I think Jeremy's exactly right calling it a sampler. I think earlier in chat I made like the comparison. It's like the white box set is to the core books, the Preludes is going to be to the full Castle Zagyg
Yes.
environment.
The hope is that you'll be able to read this Preludes and you know exactly what the castle is, the dungeon is, the environs are, Eastmark, Yigsburg, all of it.
Ooh, will there be virtual tabletop maps?
So, Lando, eventually we hope to put that out for the entire castle dungeon. We hope to get this out. We want to move on it relatively quickly and get this out in all of its glory to all of the platforms and however anyone plays with this stuff.
Yeah. It'll be good. And it seems like this setting, just besides being huge, is like it's the work of all of the World Builder books like put into one setting.
Yes, absolutely. That's a great way of putting it too, because you've got when you get into essential facts and things, and it's filled with all these lists that go, all these rooms that go in dungeons, and then all of these lists that go of stuff that are actually in those rooms. That's the perfect tool when Mike Stewart goes in and begins fleshing out these dungeons. He will be using the essential facts and things. And then when you're looking at Yigsburg and Eastmark Folio, that's where the Living Fantasy comes in to help you build the setting that you're around. Book of Names will help you name everybody. Yeah, this is really it's a great point, Grace, because this is really the focus of Gary's books.
It seemed like he was really proud of Castle Zagyg just as a project in general. And like, oh man, I had a thought and then I lost it. But like what other game setting could use like a prelude? Like I've never heard of a game setting having like an introductory, like here is what you're about to experience.
Here's what's coming.
Enjoy.
Yeah, and it's funny talking to people because a lot of people think it's just dungeons, the Castle Zagyg dungeons, and a lot of people think it's just this castle, and it's not. It is so very, very much more than that. I mean, it's a complete setting that you can go into and run. We did a 2-year game. We ran for about 2 years. Matt Golden ran us in the game. We never even made it to the castle. We just meandered around the Eastmark and Yigsburg. So,
oh yeah,
absolutely mountains.
I mean, I have Yigsburg. And I'll say, like, as like a newcomer who's totally unfamiliar with it, it's totally like a little bit intimidating at first in like a good way, where something is just so expansive that you open it up and it's like, okay, where do I actually like penetrate this setting from? There's so much here. Right. And so just having something.
What's wild about the Yigsburg setting is the number of neighborhoods. He had hired people to work on 26 different books, 26 different neighborhoods in the town itself. So the amount of material that he had intended to flesh out or had flesh out for the city itself was just monumental.
Yeah. Ooh, is it pronounced Yigsburg?
Yigsburg. I say Yigsburgs. I've not heard the Yigsburg, but I'm not going to, don't argue with people's pronunciation. So.
However you say it, it's right. I've got a nice big map of the city too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've been running a bit of Yigsburg and enjoying it. It's so cool. I mean, I know that we like keep saying it, but really can't say it enough, just how detailed it is.
Yeah. Well, and there's so many NPCs in there, and you're given motivations and personalities so that when they go into this neighborhood or that neighborhood, or they go to encounter whoever, the CK, the DMGM can sit down and go, okay, this is who this is and this is how they react, which is immensely helpful. It does take a little bit of homework, I think, a little bit of reading to digest that stuff.
If reading those books is the homework, then reading through Castle Zagyg Preludes is the Cliff Notes and doing your homework the smart way.
There you go, the Cliff Notes. I forgot all about Cliff Notes.
I never used them. I was a good kid.
In the long ago days. So the Preludes, I don't know where we are on the Kickstarter. It was at 280 when last, we're at 281.
281.
So it seems to be 282. It seems to be trucking right along.
Yeah, it's super, super exciting. The other thing that I think about, like, the Preludes is just, like, everything in the World Builders Archive is meant to, like, provide you with, like, structure and framework and ideas and prompts and all the stuff that you can use to, like, flesh out your own setting, build it up, your character, your campaign, etc. And if you're working on, like, your own setting, having something like the Preludes is a really great structure to, like, start laying out your setting. All of the different chapters with just, like, it's like a couple of quick paragraphs, right, for each locale.
Correct. Yeah, we have the Preludes for Aufstrag. We need to just put that up on the Kickstarter and let people download it. It's for free, and it gives them a good idea of what's in Aufstrag, and we're using that as the template for Castle Zagyg, so that if you kind of want to know what the East, I keep saying the East Mark, well, no one really knows what that is. So it's this, I think it's 20 square miles and this, that, and the other. And it'll have a brief 2 or 3 paragraph description of it. So you can read it, digest it, and move on. And the nice thing about the dungeon levels, obviously, but since we've published the upper works, the castle, the precincts, and all that, we know what's in them. Now, levels 2 through 17 were never written, but Gary gave me a 2 or 3 paragraph description of each of those levels and what they entail. So this will have some material that Gary Gygax wrote. We'll put that in there, so that it's from the creator.
So it's truly, like, authentic and from the brain of the guy who designed all of this stuff and this whole series.
Yes.
It's really, really cool.
And the guy who, through his drive and wisdom and whatever, launched this entire crazy hobby, and co-designing it with Dave Arneson, of course. But Gary's the guy who, for those who don't know, he was the guy who started, TSR, and it brought all of this stuff to us, in one fashion or the other.
Session 16 of my CNC campaign in Ygsburg had my players' PCs meet up with bandits near the approach to the Dark Chateau, or Castle Zagyg. Ooh. Are these locales that will be detailed?
So Dark Chateau was written by Rob Kuntz, and we don't have the rights to do that. So the Dark Chateau will not be a part of this overarching thing. I don't know if Rob sells that on his own website, and I honestly can't remember what his website is. He used to the Pied Piper or something. I can't remember. It's been a while since I visited that. But sadly, the Dark Chateau won't be a part of it. But we do. Peter Bradley was telling me there is a Pedego. Did I say that word right? In the castle precinct. So there's there is that.
I finally backed last night. Wife said it would come in handy for her setting she has.
Nice, excellent. Thank you, DM Chris. And your wife is right. For those of you sitting on the fence, we're 10 volumes, right? This is a 10-volume set of world building, game designing, adventure running material, 1,400 pages. It's going to be monsters. It
is, like, the thing that I've been saying is that it is faster and more useful than a Google search. Because when you Google, like, setting prompts or, like, whatever, you get, if your Google algorithm is the same as mine, you get just, like, the same kind of few, like, random name generators and, like, articles that are buried in ads and, like, all this shit. It's like, no, exactly. I just want to see the thing.
It's exhausting.
It is. God, yeah, it sucks. And these books are laid out so intuitively. I just have the PDFs for the original ones. I don't even have, like, the updated ones yet. Like, we're working with a system that is so intuitively designed, organized so well. It is so easy to reference. If you have a question about any one specific thing, the answer is so easy to find.
Yeah.
And there's no nonsense. There's no, like,
no,
doctors
there's not.
Him. Like,
yeah. And there's not. And the series is written such that it's encyclopedic dictionary approach. I mean, there's not filled with a lot of fluff writing. You don't have to wander through 3 pages of, descriptive text to get to what an apps is or whatever. So It makes it much, much easier. And we did hit this morning when we hit the 275 goal. We did, which I don't know. I know
It's gonna
Peter
make it
Bradley.
even easier.
Yeah, Peter was making fun of me. He said, "Who knew that so many people wanted an index?" I think indexes are amazing.
Oh my god, yeah.
And having a series index, and we're going to take the same index, and it'll go in all 10 books. That'll be a series index that tells you, if you're in the canteen crew, you'll be able to look and see what's in the world builder and what. So it's going to have all of it, so you can quickly get to where you need. You don't have to poke through 10 books trying to figure out what you want.
That'll be so helpful, because there is some overlap in the subjects. Yep. Like, it's hard to say quickly, like, what is different about the actual content and what's described in, like, Living Fantasy and Essential Facts and things, for instance. Right. But, like, if you can think to yourself, well, I just want, like, a short description of something, or I want to know how this worked on, like, an operational level in a medieval society, then on the series index, you'll know where to go.
You'll know where to go. Yep.
The leather-bound editions look gorgeous.
Yeah, I am absolutely. Peter took, so that the heraldry on the front of that is Gary's heraldry for Castle Zagyg, for Yigsburg, I should say, not Castle Zagyg, for Yigsburg. And Peter brilliantly put it on the leathers. I think it fits beautifully. Kind of ties it into, like you, and Grace, I have to say, I never really thought about that, but these world builders, they really tie in, these archives tie into Castle Zagyg. Everything that he was doing there is here. So that heraldry has this kind of double, connective tissue between the two.
Yeah. So with the Castle Zagyg Preludes, you really get a glimpse into the setting, a type of setting that you could create.
Yeah.
With a little bit of help. Yep.
And not having to do a Google search and weed your way through 3 pages of ads and pop-ups.
Honest to God.
I was so happy when I do too. I was so happy when I found those yellow pages at the grocery store. I got a phone book. I haven't had a phone book in years. I just needed someone to fix the washing machine. That's all I needed.
Yeah, man, oh man.
The internet is useless.
It is. Always choose books. And honestly, like, it's just good to have books, I know that's been, like, a long debate throughout, like, the years, especially, like, through the generations and stuff, of, like, ebooks and PDFs and stuff. Like, it's just really nice to have, like, a physical book. There's something warm about it.
Yeah, there is, and it's funny too, because I think that, because I'm being a Gen X, I've listened to years and years and years of younger people don't read. And I argue with so many people, they don't read if you write boring stuff, sure. But
and a lot of the time, because they're like, oh, these younger people are just, like, on their phones all day. What are they doing? They're reading articles. They're, like, reading updates from people. They're reading emails. They're reading.
The amount of fan fiction written these days is insane. I mean, it's absolutely insane. So yeah, and I've listened to Print is Dead at least twice, if not 3 times, since running TLG, and it clearly is not. People love books. Books are good.
Yeah.
People are tactile. We like to touch things.
Oh yeah, and I think that you just internalize the information better a little bit. That there's no basis for that, but
no, I think it's true. I think that. See stuff on the internet and there's so much of it. It's not even that your senses get overwhelmed. Your senses just like, I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you can see people in my generation, they get really upset about stuff on the internet. People in the Gen Z are like, whatever.
You just go past, I don't know.
Yeah, who cares?
Oh, man. Well, I just kind of meant for this to be like a pretty short, quick stream, just kind of explaining the new stretch goal and, like, why we're so goddamn excited about it.
Absolutely jazzed.
Yeah. Do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I do want to get, I'm going to let everybody know, we'll get up within the next 30 minutes or so. I'll work with Chuck and we'll get the PDF for the Preludes abstract up on the website so people can download it, go look at it. You can see what we're talking about format-wise. And if you haven't backed a Kickstarter, please do so. And if you have, please share it on your socials. Let us get to that 300 mark. That would be absolutely fantastic.
Yes. We're about 13,000 away. I think we can do it in 6 hours.
I think we can. It's done much better today than I anticipated. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we're well within the realm of possibility.
I think so too. Well, thank you everyone. Thanks for hanging out. This was just a little quick update. And yeah. Back to Kickstarter.
See you around.
Trolls off.